Oh.
I've got tax policy that isn't gonna work, but it's a bird's eye view into the Republican psyche. And so we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna get mad. Just kidding. I'm already fucking mad. Hello and welcome, one and all, to the TARDIS and a piece of plywood. It's nobody else. Oh, whoa, you're back. It's Nobody Asked. It's the show that nobody asked for with your boy, Colin. It's me. We're doing it out of order. And my mother, it's Maria.
Yay!
LB for colon, hand pink waving colon. I'm sure that that's an emoji on YouTube, but from our little desk here, it's just a piece of code. Hello, Mel. Hello, Ashley. And welcome to the stream.
It's a pink hand waving. That's what it is. It looks like a big old pink glove.
Okay. My mom has the actual show up, so she knows. Yes, as you may have heard from our theme song, which changes each and every week, we'll be talking today about the Fair Tax Act. Ooh, oh my God, it's so exciting. Tax policy. Oh God.
We've been waiting for it for decades.
Oh God, this is better than porn. So,
yikes.
You know, yeah, we'll be talking about that and we'll be having a good time. But first of all, Mom, how you doing?
I'm pretty good.
She's pretty good.
Yeah, your dad's back from visiting his mom in Idaho. And yeah, I'm good. He's a little sad, but I'm good. I'm happy to have him home.
Brutal.
It was a hard trip.
Brutal. Sometimes things are bad.
Ooh, and Pineapple's here, but she's driving.
Pineapple's here, but she's driving. And Pineapple, I've got a feeling you'll like parts of this and not others. I mean, you know, we're gonna try and give this tax policy a fair shake, which is more than the liberal news media would do. The fake news, liberal news media that's calling it a 30% tax, even though it's only 23% if you do math differently. So, you know,
you're getting all your information from CNN.
Yeah, I'm getting it from my butt. God, I love my butt news. Butt news.
Ooh, we should make that channel. Butt news.
Butt news? That'd be a much better name for this podcast.
What if we had to actually like give the news with their butts though? Because then that would not. I don't want any part of that. But if we put a nice filter on where we look like butts, then that would.
Oh yeah, you remember my seminal work, the Butthead?
No.
From like first grade.
Oh. It was like Captain Underpants, but it was a butthead.
It was. I did not have a good understanding of derivative work at the time. So it felt completely original to me, but it certainly was similar to Captain Underpants. But the thing, and I'm sure other readers of Captain Underpants will be quick to agree with me, the thing that always bugged me about Captain Underpants was that he was a human. He was not a pair of underpants. And so for me, I felt like the work could be improved with a superhero whose name described what he is, and that was Butthead. A superhero with a butt for a head. Honestly, I have such positive memories of Butthead.
Well, perhaps you should revisit him as an adult.
And discover
there's
they
still
were
something
not
there.
Work. I mean, Vortex Victor was certainly had better qualities.
Yes.
Mel Ashley Pineapple. Wow, 10 viewers on immediately for our first stream in a few weeks. It's been rough. Do we have any life updates we want to go through?
I don't know. Do you?
I've been making sourdough, so I'm about 3 years late for the pandemic sourdough craze, and it's been fun. It's been meditative. It's brought me closer to myself. No, it's been really good. It's been tasty. I like it. I've bought many different products in order to improve it. Every loaf is better than the last one, and it's good for sandwiches.
Success.
Yeah, so that's good.
I mean, I will say during the pandemic, you did make a few ciabattas, and they were delicious. So it wasn't like you weren't in on the bread craze at all. You just not the sourdough.
Yeah. I've definitely started with more knowledge than than a normal beginner would, I suppose. This is definitely an improvement over the ciabatta, and the ciabatta was good. The pizza doughs I've also made were really good, but I have not fallen into the regular pitfalls of bread making because I learned them with ciabatta and with pizza dough. Yep, that has been good. I've been I might have health insurance soon, which is great because there's something about this society where even if an entire system is completely fucked up, you still need to partake in it. And health insurance is the dumbest piece of shit scam. And the CEO of Aetna should be fucking keel-hauled. And the CEO of United Healthcare should be set aflame in the town square. And the CEO of fucking what's another one?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
The CEO of another one from the designated New York City hanging lamppost. So that was a reference. Hi, Patricia. But
sorry that you come in where Colin's a little bit sad.
Still need. It's so. We'll actually talk a little bit about this with our topic today, but nothing grinds my gears more than institutions, especially ultra-rich major institutions, intentionally convoluting information to fuck with people that can't be experts, right? The legal system, Venus de Militant, how do I really feel? Worse than I'm letting on. The legal system is built explicitly so that you need a law degree to partake in it. And it's created an entire industry where sometimes it's just not necessary. And then the healthcare system, it's like they just throw these fucking acronyms at you. And you really need a class on it to understand, what does and does not apply to your deductible, co-pays, and what's the other one? Co-insurance. What is a PPO? What is an HMO? How do you set up an HSA? What tax form do you need for your HSA to take effect? All of these things require you to have a fucking accountant, and most people can't pay rent. And yet, I mean, health insurance, the best health insurance where I would still be able to access basic fucking preventative care that I could find without having a spouse that gives it to me was like $8,000 a year. Guess how many pre-existing conditions I have? None. I have none. I don't smoke. I do have a bevy, but I don't think that actually really increases it anymore very much. I'm 25. I have very few family histories that would impact it, and I've got to spend $8,000 a year. I mean, on top of health insurance is a fucking scam. And then on top of them charging you all of that bullshit, they then make it an intentionally difficult to navigate system so that the service that you pay for, the health insurance, doesn't need to pay out to you.
Yep. They're protecting their money, but it's your money.
And all of it is just preying on people that are in emergency situations, right? Oh, but my ambulance ride isn't covered. My fucking ambulance ride. Oh, I'm sorry that I didn't ask if they were under the Aetna umbrella of my fucking PPO. I'm so sorry about that. I was unconscious and dying. Thank God I'm in thousands of dollars of debt. But if I had just waited 15 minutes longer and possibly died in that time, then I would have been able to avoid that because it's a covered expense under a different. And you're paying for that. Stupid. And that's if you're young and smart. Imagine what a mess it is for the older and confused. that's what I'm saying, right? Is that I
Yeah.
somewhat understand that I have the power to figure these things out. And so I almost feel like I have a responsibility to not let businesses fuck with me in this way, right? And not let them take advantage of me, because I am able to figure out the minutia of all of this nonsense. But while you're doing it, you're just like, not everyone has time for this.
No.
And
no.
Not everyone has the mental faculties for this. I mean, we should not create systems upon which the health of individuals are based, that you need to be in the top 50% of intelligence to understand, because inherently 50% of the country is not in the top 50% of intelligence.
Inherently.
And yeah, it's the nature of percentages. And but we create these systems and we go, well, if you don't understand how to file your taxes, if you don't understand the intricacies of your HMO, and that hospitals, even though a hospital is in your insurance, certain providers may be contracted by the hospital. And yet when you're at a hospital and you're dealing with healthcare professionals and you say, how much is this going to cost? Have you ever watched Grey's Anatomy? I mean, McDreamy is so hot, but also every episode that somebody's like, how much is that going to cost me? And McDreamy is just like, we don't need to worry about that right now. What world do you live in? Oh yeah, a doctor's world where you're a lead neuroscientist. Spoiler alert, I'm not a lead neurosurgeon who's making $500K a year. So yeah, I'd like to fucking worry about it, dude, because I'd like a life to return to if I live through this. And by the way, you still charge me if I die. So
yeah.
And if I don't know how to deal with estates and how to separate myself from my dependents and from the other individuals in my family, they're going to be on the hook for my fucking death. And you're like, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, the nurse is contracted out, so they're not covered under your health insurance. Stupid, dude.
Yeah. Oh. Uh-oh.
Confusion equals corporate profits. Agreed. 8K a year is cheap compared to some of the shit I've seen. Oh, agreed. Oh, I've seen way higher. This is like the minimum for me being able to go and speak to a doctor and not just have to put the entire bill on top of the 8K a year. It's like I'm paying 8K a year. I'm like, what does that get you? And it's like, well, if you die this year, we'll cover that. But any other things, fuck that, man. When I broke my ankle, I had a lapse in insurance and had to pay for my surgery before I could get it. Never had heard of that before. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that
is kind of the new way, because a lot of people can't afford to have insurance, and they have different prices for you if you don't have insurance. I don't know, man. It's all bizarre, but it is very much in the same vein of what we're going to talk about today with the Fair Tax Act, which I don't know. Should we start talking about it? Because you haven't done your ad.
Let's start. Oh yeah, dude. Let's do the ad. Hey everyone, today's episode was sponsored by Kodak. Remember us? Remember us, Kodak? We made those cameras. We're back. We're back, and we're bigger than you might fucking expect, because we're propped up by a similar amount of money as the IRS is. All right, from the federal government.
Interesting. You know that both my parents worked at Kodak?
Yes, I do. Yeah. No, we're bigger. We got a giant government grant, which has basically rejuvenated our company. Now, of course, we're doing stuff for the government, but so does the IRS. The IRS does stuff for the government, and it's going to bring in a lot more money than the fucking Kodak. But,
especially if we get rid of corporate taxes.
Republicans saying abolish Kodak. Kodak. We also sponsor podcasts.
Ooh. Okay. Let's see. 14 minutes and 36 seconds is where Colin has finished his rant and stuff. Okay. No, it's all good. So the Fair Tax Act. So we're talking about the idea of having a federal sales tax that would take the place of kind of a group of other taxes, including income tax. this concept has been around since the 80s, but the bills have been being introduced since 1999. Every year since 1999, there is a lobby group, because that's who writes almost all the laws, are lobby groups, called Americans for Fair Taxation. They got a great name. And they have been pushing through this legislation trying to since 1999. And this year in 2023, Speaker Kevin McCarthy, as part of his deal to become Speaker of the House, his job, he controls which bills actually make it onto the floor of Congress. And he has agreed that he would let this one be brought forward. The Fair Tax Act of 2023. Where should we start? Where should we start?
Where should we start? Well, first let's start about, kind of what is interesting about this. And if we hearken back to the days of old where we were talking about what conservatism means at a base level and what republicanism means at a base level, what's interesting about this is that it provides a sort of bird's eye view into the Republican Party in a way that you don't usually see, because it's considered the conservative party. But this is not a piece of conservative legislation. This is, and by the way, when I say conservative, I mean the definition of conservative. This is, by definition, a liberal piece of legislation, because it is a massive overhaul of a system quickly and without much testing, which is what conservatives always advocate for, is that everything needs to be tested and rolled out on smaller and smaller scales. But here we see a bill that, and it certainly won't be, but if it was passed through, it would be a massive change to the system of taxation, which is one of the few things that Republicans actually agree is one of the jobs of the government. So it is interesting in that way, in that it shows where the Republican Party is willing to take large steps, and it turns out it's to decrease taxes on the rich, which blows my mind.
So I do want to kind of add something to that there is no historical precedent in any country for having a high rate national sales tax. Nobody else does this. So we legitimately have nobody else to reference the pitfalls of what could go wrong, what do you need to watch out for. This is just a let's do this giant thing and see what happens, which is not what you associate with conservatism. Yep,
it is. It's crazy. But there is, to I don't know, to give a fair shake to it, there is some thinking behind it. And as someone that is outspokenly against sales tax in general, I think that sales tax, that I'm almost the opposite of this bill. I think specifically sales tax should be abolished. It is interesting to see the logic behind this. And, there are elements of it that seem good faith. And then, of course, it gets handed up to politicians who then just immediately begin muddying the waters with nonsense rhetoric. So first, let's just talk about what this policy is. So, a few major elements of the current Fair Tax Act would be the abolition of the IRS. The IRS is an expense for the government of about $20 billion a year, which is a lot, but not in comparison to the military. And and that's expenses for hiring auditors and hiring tax preparers and people that go through all of this information. It employs a lot of people in Utah.
It does. There's a very big IRS facility there.
A huge IRS facility in Utah. And so that would be the first element, because this is going to end income tax, which is what the IRS, one of the main things that the IRS covers. They believe they'll be able to abolish the IRS completely. It'll then replace the federal income from income tax through an increase in the national sales tax. Now, what is that increase? We've heard multiple numbers, if you've been hearing about this at all. That there have been two numbers thrown around. Is it 23% or is it 30%? Let me tell you. Of a dollar, of a single dollar that you spend, 23 cents of it will be tax of that dollar you spend. This is how there's a fair-ish reason that Republicans are using the 23% number. And it's because that's how we talk about the percentage of income tax. So they're trying to set it up next to income tax. And an income tax is a percentage of your dollars. So for every dollar you earn, you're taxed at whatever tax rate you have. So if you're at a 12% tax rate, you lose 12 cents of your dollar. And so they're trying to even the comparison playground of taxes by using the same sort of a number for it. However, it is not an increase of your current sales tax, which is where I am at 7.25%. It's not an increase of that to 23%. It'll be an increase of that by 30%. Because of 77 cents, like if you made a 77-cent purchase and you applied a 30% sales tax to it, you would spend $1. Math. It's annoying. So, just like with fucking medical insurance, they will use math against you to make you think that the changes will not be as substantial as they will. This is, by the way, only federal, right? So you'll have your state sales tax, theoretically, which I have that 7% state sales tax. And then there will be an addition of a 30% federal sales tax, which will constitute 23% of the total money that you earn.
Okay, so I don't know. I think I would say it a different way. I would say, like, let's say that they like to use this word, the property. So the item that you're purchasing, let's say that is a $100 item all by itself. They then add 30% to it. So now it's 130, right? And now this new number, this $130 number, that $30 that they added to that total is now 23% of that entire $130 total.
Yes.
But they added 30% to the 100, your original number.
So this is how we think about sales tax. But, if you're trying to compare it directly with income tax, it does make sense to think of it as like a percentage of the whole. Otherwise, you'd think that, for income tax, if your income tax is, is 30%, right? Then of every 70% of the money that you get as income, that 70% is taxed by 45-ish%, right? Numbers, man. It's all about the numbers. So anyway, it's a 30% sales tax. On top of state, this doesn't end state taxes, right?
It does not.
It will probably make it much more difficult for states to acquire income tax. And so all states will need to move to a sales tax model, I would assume. And so it will not be a 30% sales tax. It will be probably a 38% sales tax, which is a lot, but no more income tax. So you actually, if you make $50K a year, you actually get $50K at the very beginning. And
that's true. So that's the idea, is that you're getting your whole paycheck, right? They're not taking out any FICA. They're not taking out any federal income tax for you. None of it is being taken out ahead of time. It's all going to be taken out based on what you consume. So let's see. Will this proposal tax change mean that super wealthy will have to pay, though? Or is there a loophole again? They will have to pay based on their consumption. The reality is that there are a lot of things that are kind of excluded in this bill that I think the rich get to take advantage of a little bit more than the average person. Yep. And, there's some rhetoric around this saying, oh, but they're not going to be taxing food and clothes and necessities at that rate. You're not going to be taxing that. That's not true. It's everything, everything that is a tangible item that doesn't fall under some certain interesting rules about businesses. So they want to get rid of, this is some more of the rhetoric around it, which I don't completely disagree with, but like, let's say you are making, I don't know, wagons. You sell wagons, you make custom wagons, and you have to go and buy bolts at the bolt store for the wagons, right? So you're getting taxed on those bolts. And then when you sell the wagons, it's going to get taxed again. So they eliminate that. When you're doing business to business, the business doesn't have to pay for the tax on those bolts, because that's not the end product. So you're facilitating another business to make the final product. So business to business like that, no taxes. Only the final consumer for that wagon would pay the 30% tax on that, which is interesting. And there's there's a lot of weird loopholes in there around various things. Let's say you buy a piece of property and you're using it just as an asset. You're just keeping it. You're doing minimal maintenance on it. You're not living in it. You're viewing it as an asset that you hope will appreciate. You're not being taxed on that either. It's all really, really strange. And there's also this idea that if something is a used item, that you wouldn't be taxed on that either. Somebody's already paid the taxes on that when it was new. You don't have to pay it on a used item. So there are these just very interesting, strange, I don't know, loopholes, but anybody can take advantage of some of that stuff. But there's a lot of like very pro-business stuff in here where, let's say you buy a vehicle for your carpet cleaning business. If it's a business, you're not paying taxes on that vehicle that you just purchased. But if later on you're no longer, you stopped doing that business, and now you're just driving your truck around, now it's a personal item. Now you pay tax on it based on what its current, value is. So that's an interesting, weird thing. And it goes in the other direction too. Let's say you bought a truck initially just for yourself, and then you started your cleaning business later on, a couple of years later, and now it's a business expense. Now you can get credited money back.
I wonder who is going to do the paperwork and help credit that back, and who you would file with that something's changed to a business expense. Just wondering. But what's important here is the idea that a sales tax is a regressive tax for the reason that the highest earners in the country spend a much smaller percentage of their money on things that would be taxed. So, for example, stock assets, even now, are not, there's no sales tax on stock assets. Imagine what a day trader would have to do to make money if every stock trade had a sales tax on it. That would be crazy. But for some reason, a car is not an asset, maybe because poor people need cars. And so every time a car is sold, used or not, it gets fucking taxed in the current system. So the reason this is a regressive tax is that it is a flat tax on all consumption, but a greater percent of the paycheck of the poor is used on consumption, right? Very few people that are under the poverty line are spending more than 10% of their paycheck on stock buys, whereas a significant portion of those that make greater than $500 or $1 million per year are spending a significant amount of money on buying assets that are used to generate more income
or more wealth.
Yeah, so they will be taxed. Certainly, they spend more on consumption in general, right? Rich people go to fancier restaurants and they buy nicer Bugattis, and they buy the finer things in life. But in the end, it is almost always a smaller percentage of their overall income, which is why this is called a regressive tax. It also taxes more strongly in practice a number of different groups that Republicans would not want you to think that they're taxing more strongly, like parents. Parents spend a significantly greater part of their check on consumption than non-parents. And so this tax would more adversely affect parents, especially new parents. And so it's always directly related to the amount of your paycheck that you spend on consumption. So most economists agree that in the short term, the bottom 90% of earners in America would be taxed more under this system than the current system. And the top 10% are those that serve to gain from the Fair Tax Act.
Yeah. Actually, you asked if, if the tax collection was still going to go for schools and the things that it normally goes to. Yes, in theory, it should. It should still go to all of the things. It's just we're getting the money a different way. One of the other things that is part of this legislation that is a little bit of a surprise because it definitely feels progressive is, this would be a huge hit if you are below the poverty line. The poverty line in America is not where it should be, in my opinion. They're putting it, depending on where you look, for a single person, maybe it's under $13,000 a year. It could be a little more, depends on what year you looked at the statistics for. For a family of four, I think they like to say, oh shoot, I wrote that down somewhere on this jibber jabber. Oh, I don't know where I wrote it, but it's incredibly low. A person, even a single person, can't really live on $1,000 a month if you're talking about having somewhere to live and bills to pay and to be able to eat. So what they've done is based on that poverty line number, and they're giving this to everybody and based on your family size. So it would be that $12,880 plus, let's see, $4,500 for each additional person in your household that you're not married to. They will add some more to this number, but they come up with this number and they will give you 23% of that number per month to offset the price of increase from this tax, from the sales tax, because they're like, you're not going to be able to afford to pay sales tax.
23% of the cost of living.
No,
right?
But only for the poverty line. You don't get it for your cost of living.
Yes, the 23% of the cost of living at the federal poverty level, but it is for everyone.
Yes, everybody is entitled to it. I would be entitled to it. You would be entitled to it, even though we both make more money than that.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos would be entitled to it. So, you're getting, depending on how many people are in your family, between, I don't know, $370 and maybe $600 a month to offset the price of these taxes. But it's at 23%. Like, it's legitimately 23%. It's not 30%. I just want to point that out.
Well, but it's the same arithmetic. It is 23% in comparison, right? It's 23%. It is comparable. It is.
If you say so, I don't know.
It actually is. This is what I've been saying the whole time, right? 23% of the whole is the same as a 30% addition.
But, okay.
Obviously, it's ridiculous that the Republicans, when talking about a sales tax, when they're talking about sales taxes that they're opposed to at state Congress, they'll use the bigger number. But then here, when they're proposing a policy, they use the smaller number out of convenience, right? But if you are comparing an apples to apples to income tax, 23% is the right number.
Okay. I guess I'm curious about it.
Sales tax.
No, it just doesn't seem like the right number to me. It is 23% of the whole, absolutely. But does that match up to what you would actually pay in sales tax? I don't know.
Well, let's see. That all right, the cost of living is for a family of four is $27,750. And
at the poverty line?
At the poverty line.
Okay.
And so you would get over the course of a year $6,380 ish. And so if you add that to what you need to pay, then no, you're right.
I was gonna say it's not the same number.
It is less than you would need if you wanted to make it completely free. Now, somebody that's making $27,750 with a family of four with 4 kids is still paying income tax in America right now. So Is it comparable? I'm not positive. However, certainly among middle income earners, this is going to be significantly worse.
It is. It is. That is the way the economists, who are the professionals, feel about it, is that the people in the middle are the ones that are going to be biggest hit. There might be some benefit for the people at the bottom who, you know, as Patricia said, you know, they're using most of their money just to pay to day-to-day live, right? For food and just your normal living expenses. You know, there's no time for them to invest or anything like that. They're trying to keep roofs over heads and stuff like that. So it does hit differently for them. But yeah, and everybody is entitled to this money, but you do, here's another interesting part, is that you have to apply for it. It's called your family consumption allowance. And it is an annual registration. So you have to register, you have to tell how many people live in your house, you got to give social security numbers. So there's none of this. If you want to be able to collect this money, you can't say, you got to have social security numbers. You got to be in the system. Yeah, they won't just give it to you if you don't apply.
Yep. All right.
Which I'm not mad at, but you know, I think a lot of people.
That's kind of a way to eliminate the top 1% who are like, $3,000, who gives a fuck?
I mean, for some of them definitely will still do it because every penny counts. That's how they got rich.
That I know so many more rich people than anyone that's in either of our spheres, and that is not how they act. that is a lie sold to the poor. Okay, that is the poor are the ones who are convinced that now they will take money wherever they can get it. That I think that there's a portion of the ultra rich who are like that. However, do they not spend money? Do they save every cent? That is a fucking lie. And you know, and it's a lie not only sold to the poor, but you should look into it. Just, I mean, we could do a show on this if we wanted, but we should look into the PR firms that handle ultra billionaires PR, because there's this famous playbook for making billionaires darlings to the masses within America. And it was to show that they still drove a beat up car. And Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, the fucking Berkshire Hathaway guy, what's that fucking guy's name? The guy that's like, I still eat at McDonald's because they've got a great dollar deal or whatever.
I wish McDonald's is expensive right now.
All of those guys used the same playbook to appear that the reason they got rich is that they save all of their money while having other ultra expensive cars at the same time. Like at the time that those things were filled. Jeff Bezos has this video of him driving across a bridge in a Toyota Camry. He had a Range Rover at the time. So this is propaganda. And sure, it's such a thing that I hear from people that are in the bottom 95% of earners. And it's like, dude, you've got to meet these rich people. That's not why they're rich.
No, that wasn't what I was saying. I was saying that they would make sure they did their annual registration, or they paid somebody to do their annual registration because they want this money that they're entitled to.
Yeah. I was merely responding to the, like, that every penny counts. That's how they got rich sort of idea.
Yeah. I also want to say that the idea of this, the idea that everybody would be entitled to this, you know, $300 to $600 and something per month, it does start to sound a little bit like universal basic income.
Yes,
and
it's not high enough to be anything near universal basic income, but it's a good start. Excuse me.
It is a good start. It's a curiosity that you don't expect from Republican legislation. It's sort of an acknowledgement that this tax could be quite burdensome to, you know, people, which I appreciate, but yeah, it isn't enough to really, you can't sustain yourself on this.
One thing that I thought was interesting is in the disclosure from the Republican Party, they listed the different taxes and called them regressive or progressive, which I would think that Republicans would actively deny that sales tax is regressive, and they would call it a flat tax, which would be incorrect. But I would assume that's the playbook. They called sales tax regressive, which I found very interesting. They called income tax progressive, and then they called payroll tax regressive. And I found all of that interesting, that there were these points of acknowledgement where you're like, oh my goodness, there is logic here. When they're proposing crazy out there liberal policies, they start using their brains a little bit. You're like, oh shit. Okay.
Well, they know how to brand themselves. They know what they're doing with regard to branding, right? Let's make this idea.
But I would think that they would deny that sales tax is regressive.
And they
that's bad PR, right? Because even staunch Republicans don't say you should tax the poor more than the rich. You said that every uncle at Thanksgiving has a white wine, or is just Mormon and acts that way, and he'll start talking about, why don't we just do a flat tax? Okay, it'll be completely fair, and it won't disincentivize me from making more money. The way the system works right now, if I got offered more money, I'd say no. I'd say no if I got offered more money, because I'd have to pay more tax. And so what's even the point anymore? Okay. That's every uncle on the planet.
But let's see. Let me share my screen for a second. Boop. Wait a minute. Select a window. Because I do find that an interesting idea. And I think you've said this many times in the past, but I think people don't often understand the way that our taxes work, our income taxes. And the idea that if you made more money, are you really going to be taxed more? And the answer is it's kind of a yes and a no, right? So here on this little tablet, we see that if you make between $0 and like $10,000, you're taxed at 10%. And then look at the next box. So if you make over 10,000, so between 10 and 41, so they gave you a flat number, $1,027 plus 12% of the amount over, $10,275. So I don't know if you understand this. So that's the 10% for everything that you made that was below that threshold. And then for the things that were above that 10,275 threshold, you pay 12% on that. So you can move all the way up. You can go to, okay, now I now make $539 or $539,901 per year, and you can, let's see. Yeah. So that's 37%, right? But that's only 37% on the amount over, a certain number. So that's still a lot of taxes, but it's incremental. So it steps up through the different, brackets. So this portion of your income, your first 10,000 is taxed at 10%. Your next 30,000 above that is taxed at 12%. Your next 50,000 above that is 22, and your next, what's the number there? 96, I don't know, whatever it is taxed at 24. So you can watch it, incrementally move up. It's not all of your money being taxed at the same rate.
Yep.
And I just think that's important to understand.
Because there's never a point where you will earn one more dollar and then lose more than $1. That's what's important, is that there are people, and I know in real life, there are people that have denied raises thinking that they're going to jump from the 24% to the 32% tax rate. And they've denied raises thinking that they're going to lose a ton of money by getting a $5,000 raise. And look at what numbers I'm talking about there. These are people that are making money, and you've got to go, dude, who told you that? Your boss? I mean, who stood to gain from you thinking that?
Yeah, exactly. You are going to be, taxed at that 24%. Well, really incrementally up to 24. And then that new raise that brought you to the 32%, just that little bit extra you're making is taxed at 32%. So yeah, you're still going to make more money. Yeah, you'll pay more taxes.
Still 37% at the very top.
Yeah, so it didn't change from this year to last year.
For some reason, I thought the very top was lower than 37%, but still cool. Many of the eras that Republicans are like, God, I wish we could go back, had a higher top tax bracket. Just throwing that out there. The Rockefellers paid like 82%, something truly out of this world. So we're at one of the least progressive tax rates right now that we have been in our time as a country.
Yep.
So
right.
congratulations, Republicans.
So that's how that works. Now the real question is, I guess, are you going to benefit from this system if we got rid of? So just to be clear about which taxes are being proposed to be gotten rid of. So it is the federal income tax, it's self-employment tax, estate tax, gift tax, payroll, and withholdings. Which I know you're like, how is that different than income tax? It's a kind of a combination of income tax and Social Security, Medicare, and if you pay like employers insurance, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think of the word, like workman's comp, that kind of stuff. Those types of taxes. And for some reason, this is also included in there, financing presidential elections. I don't know why that's in there, but this would also.
Oh, I feel very strongly about financing presidential elections. But it's still an elective thing right now. Would this make it mandatory?
No, this is part of what's being repealed is the financing, I guess, via taxes for presidential elections.
Oh my God. Fucking, why do Republicans do this to themselves? Constantly, Republicans talking about corruption in U.S. politics, and yet they want to take out any public funding for the elections. A true liberal piece of legislation would say that any spending on a presidential election must only be from a public coffer and must be equally shared among participants that poll over 1%. You know, but no. What other countries do, by the way. Other countries do that. But no, us, we're like, you know what? You know who should fund our elections? Private interest groups that stand to benefit from specific policies that they will blackmail politicians into adopting in order to access their money. That's who should fund our elections. And then Republicans take that money, and then they say to poor people in Alabama, they go, there's too much money in politics. And then they propose legitimately radical legislation like this. And then they say, and by the way, more money in politics, please. Let's do that.
No, it is interesting because we complain right now about how many politicians, are bought and paid for by different lobbying groups. And it would be unavoidable. You know, how would you be working for the people unless those people can afford to fund your campaign? How would you do it? It would be pretty difficult.
Yeah.
I will say, listen, I am interested in seeing, some really hard analysis of this, of like the worst and best case scenarios. Obviously, the lobbying group that helped create this legislation, the Americans for Fair Taxation, they think that this bill would allow more people to be taxed that aren't currently taxed. So it says they say 250 million people would pay, including tourists, because they're consuming while they're here, or instead of the 155 million that currently are paying via income tax. And they also believe that the GDP, gross domestic product, would grow by 10% in the first year. I don't know how they've arrived at those numbers.
Yeah, that even Republican think tanks don't go quite that far. But I'm sure that some Republican think tanks do. Study used a model using from the Beacon Hill Institute, which has some controversy around it. But as far as think tanks that support this legislation in any way, they seem to be one of the more reliable ones. They said that 23% sales tax would collect 2.6 trillion, and they used a model showing a GDP increase of 7.9% in the first year and up to 10% in the 25th year. Domestic investments are projected to be 74% higher in the first year, up to 65% higher in year 25. They seriously underestimate consumption's drop. They say it's from 0.6% and between 0.6% and 0.8%. But I imagine that tourism will become less common with how expensive that is. And I imagine that consumption in general, being driven by the middle class who are hurting from this legislation, it would have to drop more than 1%. Yes, those are among the things that they say positively of the legislation.
Yeah, I think there's the belief that because you don't have businesses having to have the same level of burden for taxing, right, as they maybe previously did, and there's so many loopholes if you're trying to run a business that you're going, more businesses are going to thrive, and they're gonna put more money in their business, which of course they believe is good for the economy. But does that wreak a little bit of trickle down economics? Do they believe that that's somehow going to get to the people? And does trickle down economics, has that ever proven to work? Not that I know of. It doesn't trickle down. It stays in the pockets of the people at the top.
Yeah, I think that there's agreement shown right here on both sides that loopholes do need to be closed in taxes, and that those loopholes benefit most to the people at the top. And so it would tax consumption of people on the top, and and they would be taxed on their loans that are secured against their life insurance and all that shit. I mean, because it's, in the end, it's just spending, right? If you spend that money on shit, on helicopter rides and whatever, it'll be taxed. So there is that. I do find it kind of misleading to say that the number of people that are taxed will increase, therefore taxes will increase, because it's just not as directly related as that. I mean, we could easily tax every head in the entire country $1. If you have a family of 12, you got to pay $13 of tax, and there will be much more people taxed under that system than under either of the ones that are being proposed here, the current or this fair tax solution. But it would lead to a much smaller amount of tax that couldn't even cover the bill for the IRS. So,
yeah, yeah, I think it would be interesting to also, I guess, think about how would a tax like this change people's behavior, because immediately you would see a difference, at the grocery store, at the gas station, everywhere where you are regularly consuming to survive. You are going to feel it immediately. And how will that change what you do? We saw during COVID how dramatically COVID affected what people were doing with their money. Not that people weren't still purchasing, they were, but they were buying differently. It completely affected the gas market and other markets. For some reason, toilet paper was a commodity.
Yep.
I don't know, but it would be interesting to see how that kind of sticker shock would change what people do in their lives until they get used to this, until, if this does work, how would it even out, and what businesses would just disappear? Obviously, tax businesses would disappear, but I don't know how it would affect, your medical spending. Is that an exemption? Is that an intangible thing, or would we be taxed on that? Would be taxed on the service of being helped, at the dentist or the doctor? Would that be taxed at 30%?
100%, yes. But buying services is,
yeah.
Unless your teeth are a business. But yeah, it's interesting overall to just think about how things would change quickly. I think that say that there was that this got passed through the Senate and House, which will not happen. And then it got vetoed by the president. And so then they would need a supermajority in the House or Senate and Senate to override that veto. And so that in this hypothetical, people need to start working with me, the Democratic senator from New York, right? And I'm seeing the writing on the wall that they're going to get Democrats from somewhere. And so I'm thinking, what can I add to this legislation for my yes, where I think it will actually help people? I think one of the first things that I would add is a requirement that all online retailers, all people that advertise prices for goods that would be affected by the sales tax, There's no more showing the sticker price and then adding the tax on at the end. All prices must include the tax.
I like that.
Because with income, what we've been doing for the last forever, right? The companies that advertise what will be paid to us advertise the amount with tax to us. You're going to be making $50K a year. No, you're not, right? You'll be making fucking 44 or whatever. I've made $50K a year multiple times, and so I know in this case, I think that if I was a Democrat and I saw that writing on the wall, I would say, well, let's make a requirement that anyone that advertises a price must include the tax in their price, because I think that there would still be sticker shock in, when people see it, but I think that would make it easier for consumers to understand what they can spend.
Yes. They're not, you don't want to be putting items away at the checkout when you see what the real price is. Yeah. Nobody wants to do that.
And people are just bad at adding 38% to things. It's just hard. It's hard to add 10% to things. Weirdly.
That's
and it should be
easy.
Well, you say that, but people are bad at it, right?
Oh.
Everyone's surprised when they get the check, right? I cover the check at every restaurant I can because my credit card rewards are so fucking good. And then I Venmo for people's different meals. And every time that I've got a check for like 10 people, somebody is like, can you show me the math on that? And I'm like, you can't add 20% tip and sales tax to a number? Okay, yeah, I'll do some math for you, because people are just bad at it, and people will be bad at this. So that would be something that I advocate for. I think I'd also advocate for the UBI being the sales tax rate of poverty and not the like percent of poverty. But that's a little bit more ticky tack. I'm not positive it would immediately fail. And I do think it's a regressive tax. I do think it's a regressive tax. I also think that our current tax system is really, really bad.
Agreed.
And that loopholes are a legitimate concern and not just a Republican talking point. So
absolutely. No, I agree. I think that this is a great thought experiment that hopefully you'll take the questions that you have here and you apply it to the current system we have, because this isn't going to pass. Biden has said he would veto it, but I do think it is good to take, the questions that we have and say, well, can we fix what we have now and make it make more sense? Because it does sometimes feel like you're being double and triple taxed on stuff. And you're like, well, I've already paid for this. Why am I being taxed for it again? Like, why am I paying property taxes on my car every single year? How come when I bought it the one time that wasn't enough? What's the deal with that? I find it very annoying.
I mean, we should not be paying sales tax on cars that they've been sold once by a retailer.
Yeah. And
they're an asset. Like that. Why are we not taxing stocks multiple times, right? We're only taxing gains on stocks, right? Imagine if that's what we did for houses and cars, right? If your house appreciates that year, you pay tax on how much it appreciated. And next year, if it depreciates, you can claim that as a credit, right? That's what stocks do in this fucking ridiculous country, right? My motorcycle, sold my motorcycle. Hey, Franca. Hi, Franca.
Yeah.
And just quickly, let's do some highs. Hi, Franca. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Barbie. Hello again, Ashley. That's the group. Hey, everyone. I sold my motorcycle recently, and I bought it just before everything popped off with used car and used motorcycle prices. So I was able to sell it for, I think, like 25% more than I bought it for. And the person that I sold it to paid sales tax on it, which sucks for him. I thought it was interesting. It's like, oh, I got an appreciating asset here, and it's not taxed as an asset. Usually, used cars are not appreciating, but the world's fucked up. But it's insane to me that somebody had to pay sales tax on it a year after I paid $500 of sales tax on it.
Absolutely. And let's be real. If this did go through, the used car market would continue to be insane, because that would be, there's an advantage of not having to pay taxes on it again under this system.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Do houses work that way too? Do you only pay 30% taxes on a brand new house? But if you buy an old house, have the taxes already been paid? And so you don't have to do that?
No. Houses are considered completely different assets because they're on property. It's
But
that.
I mean, they use the word property for everything in this bill. That's the word they use. They don't say goods, they use property.
There is no way that Republicans are going to tax house sales. Okay. The housing market is propped up on fucking matchsticks. And the Republicans are some of the great oligarchs of physical land in this country. There's no way that they are going to add a sales tax that does not currently exist to the sale of homes, new or used. That there's no way.
It's a curiosity. I'm just saying there's a lot of questions to me still in this that I don't understand. I also don't understand rent, because rent was brought up. And listen, this legislation had 132 pages, and I got through, I don't know, 30% or maybe 23%. Who knows? But I got through part of it. And they kept bringing up rent in parentheses, and I'm like, I don't understand, what you're saying. Is somebody providing their home to you for the purpose of you living in it? Is that considered a service? Are you now having to pay 30% taxes on your rent? I didn't get the answer on that. So I don't know if I was being ridiculous in asking that question.
That would be crazy.
It was a question I had that I could not answer when I was reading through it, because to me, normally we would view rent for the person who is receiving the money as an income, and now it's not considered an income, right? Because we don't care about income tax. We only care about goods and services and property.
Gross payments. The term gross payments means payments for taxable property or services, including federal taxes imposed by this title. Certain types of property, such term does not include tangible personal property or rents or leaseholds of any term thereon, real property, and computer software. Oh, this is like a definition section.
Yeah, that's a definition section, but I didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah, I don't know either. This is weird.
It's just one of those things I would be afraid of. Like, the idea, I'm thinking that it's not the case, that they wouldn't be taxing you on receiving the service of living somewhere. But it's a fear that I have that, is this something that nobody has thought about? And because this language was weird to me, that it got my attention. But yeah, that would just be a fear. But I'm hoping it's not founded. I'm hoping. Actually, for business, honestly, for business owners, this should be pretty good, actually. There's a lot of things that you could, add as your business. You could say, does your business run out of your home? What percentage of your home? A lot of things you could probably claim as part of your business in theory and not have to pay taxes on it. It is interesting. But yeah, no, a lot of it is scary because there's so much unknown, because this is such a dramatic change from anything we've done before.
Yeah. Man.
It's not going to pass, but
not going to pass.
But again, I do think it's a good thought experiment.
It's interesting. I wish that this was more of what politics were, really, between Republicans and Democrats, where like big ideas like this to play around with, because everything, basically all that politics feels like at this point is people, the voters, saying this system's fucked up, this system's fucked up, this system's beyond repair, this system should be lit on fire, right? And then the politicians being like, well, we could loosen some screws around here, see if anything changes, And then and then nothing changes.
What if we put a little hat on it? Does that make you feel better about it?
I think the hat's good. Everyone, we put the hat on it. We put the hat. Okay, time for vacation. Christmas vacation. It's August already. Like, I'm more excited about this, even though it's an old piece of legislation. You know, I don't know why we need to go so far as sales tax and abolishing income tax. I think that if we abolish sales tax, and then maybe we could open up the old Uncle Joe flat tax question once again, right? UBI plus flat tax. It could be interesting.
UBI being the basic income, universal basic income plus flat tax.
Income plus a flat tax with no exclusions, no nonsense flat tax, but with no sales tax, so no regressive tax. It would be interesting. And then a UBI, right?
But so the flat tax would be based on your income, though, right?
Yes, it's a flat income tax.
It's a flat income tax. Okay.
Yes, but income includes capital gains. Now, I already know what people are going to say, and it's that capital gains are very difficult to quantify for the ultra rich, and so that'll create its own loophole. And also, you know, if the flat tax would probably have to be like 22-23%. So, it would probably have to be around there. And so, people that like Elon Musk last year, who gained like $100 billion in capital gains, how would they pay that much tax? And that is a question. I think that
in $1 bills,
selling future credits would be interesting. Well, that's a lot of thinking.
Yep, you're talking about stuff that's over my head.
This is an interesting, thought experiment. And hey, Republicans, you crazy for this one. But you had some stuff in here that made me feel like, you know, you were kickstarting the old engine. Think about how to fix things. And hey, baby, I love it. Okay.
Yeah. Was it for your own? Was it for the gain of the rich? Yeah, probably. But was it still interesting?
Was it still exactly? Could it low key help the non-rich a little, just because it's better than how convoluted our current system is? Maybe. Do I think we should be focusing more on helping the middle and lower class, and less on helping the upper class, also through a not convoluted system? Yes. Is this a jumping off point? Kind of. I'm into it. And I wish that you guys at Republicans would look at some of the radical liberal legislation out there and look at it as positively as I'm looking at this, right? Just be like, you know what? There's thinking going on here. And I think that we can come up with some radical legislation together. I think that, you know, but everyone got so mad at AOC's Green New Deal. It's the same shit, okay? It was big-ass ideas for big-ass problems, but you guys won't acknowledge that global warming is real. And it's like, all right, well, it's hard to begin a debate when one person is denying facts. So I've seen all of the, you know, I'm in liberal groups galore. I'm on the liberal side of the internet, et cetera, et cetera. I have seen all sorts of reactions to this tax policy. Almost entirely like, fuck this, bah! Let's try to look at the logic behind it. This is a bad policy, but it's not nearly as bad as my friends are saying. And, you know, maybe it just starts us thinking, you know?
Yes.
Maybe we should all do shrooms and think about tax policy.
We should. And you know what? This whole ending part of this conversation to me has made me think of, I say this regularly when I'm talking about 90 Day Fiancé stuff. And it's that, with the husband and a wife, you're on the same team. So if you're always fighting with each other to win, you're always going to lose because you're fighting somebody on the same team as you. It's a waste of time. And so if the Republican Party and the Democratic Party realize that they're married and that they need to work together, because winning, the only way you win is if you both win, you know, otherwise you both lose, whether you think you won or not. And the biggest losers are, you know, the children, who are the American people who they're responsible for. Yep. So let's stop hurting the children.
Yep. I don't like watching you fight.
Yeah. Get some marriage counseling. You're on the same team.
There's a real difference between like the real fighting where and then the fighting where it's like it feels like you're arguing in order to just pick each other's brains because you love each other's brains, you know?
Oh, yeah.
There's a difference. And
Absolutely.
I want more love each other brain fighting in this family.
Let's call it debate.
Republicans and Democrats. Also, if you guys all do shrooms, I'm positive that legislation for healthcare as a human right will be passed that afternoon. And then I won't have to go through all this fucking rigmarole to get health insurance.
Okay. Is there a way to just pipe, what is it, psilocybin into the chambers?
Dude, I don't know if they can handle a psychedelic experience that they did not want. I mean, that there are downsides to psychedelics.
You're right. You need a guide. You need a guide. So somebody has to be ready to guide them through this journey.
Yeah. No, you need help. But they do need psychedelics. I mean, I need psychedelics too, and I'm too scared. So
this should be part of your master plan, Colin, is that you need to start, sort of just befriending in the weirdest way Republican and Democratic legislators, and just one at a time take shrooms with them as you guide them.
Yeah, here's the real problem of this country is that our politicians are doing all the wrong drugs.
The wrong drugs.
They're doing amphetamines and cocaine. I'm like, yeah, of course you're angry all the time. Come on. Indeed. But, at least the Democrats smoking a doobie once in a while, but fucking goodness gracious. The Republicans just snorting cocaine off the assholes of their fucking compatriots. And then one of them says that they had a coke-fueled orgy, and they're like, don't talk about the coke-fueled orgy.
Ashley said, oh, that's the wrong one. He did shrooms to figure shit out. Oh, that's what, Ashley says you sound like Prince Harry now. He did shrooms to figure shit out. Too. Do you? I don't think so.
No, I look more like Meghan Markle than I look like Harry.
And you don't look like her either, but
I read yesterday. I read, the essay "A Modest Proposal."
No,
it's a classic essay that people will read in like AP Literature or AP Language, and it was. I'm going to butcher the description of this, so I'm just going to look it up so as to not do it. But it was a priest named Dr. Jonathan Swift in 1729, and it's a satirical essay that was written. Sorry, a satirical hyperbole mocked heartless attitudes towards the poor, predominantly Irish Catholic priests, as well as British policy towards the Irish in general. And it was a satirical essay.
Was it about eating children?
It was about eating children. Yeah, it was about eating children as a method of preventing hunger and also preventing the children of poor people from being a burden on their parents or country. Right. So when you're in AP Lit and you've been reading so much boring garbage for months, right? And then A Modest Proposal gets put in front of you. And you're reading it and you're like, wow, I can't believe in the 1700s they thought they could say that they believe stuff like this. And it gets worse and worse. And he's really advocating for eating children, right? And he's going like line by line through the upsides of it. And you're like, why are we reading this? It's crazy. And then you get into the conversation with everybody else in AP Lit, and your teacher asks you about it, and everyone is just like, "What the fuck was this? I thought we were reading Pride and Prejudice," And then your teacher looks at you befuddled and is like, "Yeah, this was satire. He didn't mean what he said." And everyone's like, "You can do that," and it's so fun. Well, I just read yesterday an article by Stuart Lee about the royal wedding in 2011, where there were all of these writers who were talking about how the person that was being married was beneath the crown, and we're just shitting on the wedding in general. And he wrote a satirical essay about how much the prince should be applauded for being willing to cavort around with
the unwashed masses.
Yeah, almost, I bet he used that word at some point, the unwashed masses, and how he was doing it like the old princes would marry the princesses from other countries in order to join and create relations between countries. But now, in a Britain divided, the prince is symbolically joining the upper class of Britain to the poor and unwanted in order to reunite Britain. And it was just a great satirical article. Good stuff.
You know, you started out in a grouchy mood, but I think you've cheered up. No?
It could go away soon.
You just need to take a walk. Just put a sign on your door in case the maintenance guy comes.
Well, we're outside of that time, so I can take a walk. And Moby went to the vet today, and he got very anxious, and so he has been like kind of sleeping angrily, like, why do you do that to me? Kind of energy today.
Had to give him a poke in the butt.
Yeah, they gave him a poke in the butt, and they drew blood. So we did a little doggy blood test.
Man, Elvis never cared about any of that stuff. I don't think he even could feel when they would draw blood. He does not, you know, he wants to come to you. He does not want you to hold him. Mm.
He doesn't like, you know, I see a lot of myself in him. in that, you know.
That is what you were like as a baby too. You were like, please stop holding me. Stop. I will come to you when I need attention. Thank you.
Exactly. And that's what he's like. Do we want to do a GeoGuessr?
Do you want to?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, well, if you want to, then yes. Let's do GeoGuessr. Because it's fun to just end with 15 minutes of GeoGuessr.
It is fun. And, you know, you guys are free to leave or to help. And, you know, all is well. Chrome tab, window. Share. Oh, God, I love that I can see both things now. It's amazing. Yeah.
What do you mean? It has something changed, or did you use a different method?
Well, now I have two screens, so I can have GeoGuessr up over here, and then if I move my cursor off screen, I've got you and me here, and I can bring up the chat.
Where is Barbie? Barbie's like all about this game, man. We got her hooked.
Oh, it's so fun. Oh, it's a new season too.
Season.
Here, let's do the daily one, just to
warm ourselves
up. You know, daily challenge. I haven't played in like a week. What a fool I am! All right. Oh, I mean,
it looks gorgeous.
We all know what this is.
But
I'll let you say.
Pretty much anywhere. Utah. I don't know.
This could be anywhere on the planet.
Italy.
This could be Ogden. Oh, wait, does it have a snorkel? No. I mean, they've edited out the car well, which makes me think that it is an industrialized country because Google doesn't give a fuck about certain countries in Africa and editing out the car.
We got
this
some
makes
nice.
me think sort of like Spain, Italian, with the nice rows of trees.
Maybe. And they got rock walls, which is interesting as well. I mean, I guess they'll do that anywhere, but it's not. I think some places it's more prevalent. Oh, what do we got going on here?
I mean, we got a moped, which is very Italy, but then we've got this truck, which is very trucky.
It's very trucky.
It's astoundingly trucky. Are those donkeys? What are these?
Goats.
Oh, goats.
That still could be anywhere.
Yeah, we really have no idea.
We're still in Utah. It's still, they have goats.
No, this is not Utah.
No, I don't think it's Utah, but not because I have proof that it's not.
I still think it's Italy, but
did you just change directions?
Yeah, I felt like there was nothing happening that way.
I mean, Italy is definitely. I mean, Italy does look like this also. Parts of Italy,
like northern or southern or.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been to northern Italy.
Were those yellow lines? No, I think it's just like a stain. Yeah, this first one's it's not easy.
Right. I don't even see a street sign like with a weird symbol to give me a clue.
But it is paved. It's actually the streets are a little bit wider than I think that you would expect in Italy for like a not super used street, which makes me think maybe America.
What is it? Is it a tractor?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
a
tractor.
little bit closer. That's a weird tractor. Oh, what's that cute hat he's wearing? Oh, are we in like
It's like a beanie.
Uzbekistan or something? I don't know.
Dude, I did say Kazakhstan with the goats. Fuck it. Kazakhstan gang. Or Mongolia? Kyrgyzstan? Oh, it could be Kyrgyzstan, dude.
Dude, I don't
He's
know
got such a
anything about
Kyrgyzstani.
Kyrgyzstan.
It was Greece.
There was no information.
There was
Just
no
a rock
information.
wall.
I mean, this isn't at all what Greece looks like either. I mean, what?
I've only been to one part of Greece, and it was very green.
You had Museum of Nebraska.
Ooh, and the beach had like black sand on it almost.
Museum of Nebraska Art.
I'm gonna guess that we're in Nebraska.
I'm gonna agree, and I'm gonna say it's either Lincoln or Omaha.
I mean, that's like a small town theater, though.
I mean, Omaha's not enormous. You know what? It's probably not Omaha.
Ooh, what's this weird pointy thing right there?
The
I can't
bricks.
read it. Oh, so this is a mall, Central Avenue, Firestone.
Yeah, it is a little. It is. I don't see any.
Can you just turn slightly to the right? A little bit more. Okay, what's this building?
Apple Market Grand Central.
Oh,
No cost flu shots. It's nice of them.
I was hoping for just name the town for us.
Rotate tires. Oh man, if I can catch balls. There's a van that I would have loved to look at the side of. Blessing Construction. God.
Yep. It just says U.S. Department of Transportation, so it's not even like county. Sunny Salon.
Zimmerman Printers and Lithographers.
Cool.
Full service salon. Do you know what the 308 phone code is?
Dude, I don't know anything about Nebraska.
Useless.
Other than it's very pleasant. Every time I drive through it, I'm like, this is lovely.
It's quite paved.
Oh, wait, is that a post office? Oh, it'd be a U.S. post office, so that wouldn't help us.
Oh. Maybe this church. Oh,
it says something on it.
Zion Lutheran Church.
Oh,
Missouri Synod? Missouri?
I thought we were in Nebraska.
We're definitely in Nebraska. I refuse to believe we're in anywhere.
Wait, what's on this sign? What's on this church sign?
Pie orders due October 28th. Carnival October. I'm just going to have a guess in somewhere so that.
So you can get out of Nebraska?
Well, but I'll keep looking, but I'm just going to put it.
I think we're in the green flat part.
Thanks, Mom.
So the east half. Oh, what's this?
Easttown Plaza?
I don't think the town's really called Easttown.
It was called Kearney.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, we tried.
Yep.
Stray dog, Columbia.
I mean, they might be walking the dog.
They might be walking it. Let's see if we can find a
yellow
license plate. And
we got a yellow line. We're in.
Oh, we got a yellow line.
We're in a weird part of Montana.
Oh, I definitely think we're in Mexico now. We're in a weird part of Montana.
I mean, there's mountains.
This has to be Mexico.
It's probably not the right shade of green for Montana. That's kind of a weird car. We can go with Mexico.
Yeah, and all of the people are not white. So.
Oh, well, I didn't notice that. Are you saying everybody in Montana is white?
No, but I'm saying there are enough white people where if you look at 10 people, you expect to see a white person.
Oh, okay.
These are all people that look like Hispanic.
Let's see what this says. It says Pepsi.
Dude, Pepsi posters are just everywhere in the country, everywhere in the world. They
get around.
Manfred Presidente.
Okay.
Internet. I mean, I'm thinking it's probably close to the border because they still use a lot of English. Good dog, though. Mountains to the southwest. Oh, where's the sign?
What do these signs say? Ooh, buses. Ooh, a gas station. I don't know. Can't read that. I mean, it's not rural. It's like semi-rural.
Senor de Burgos.
And we have a big bus. So maybe we're near stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I got no idea, dude.
Let's just pick somewhere random in Mexico, I guess.
Bolivia.
Bolivia?
I didn't know Bolivia had yellow lines.
It's new information. So far, we're sucking at this round.
Oh, yeah, no, this has been bad. Oh, all right. Israel? Jordan?
Why Israel?
Because of the text.
Because it had English text as well?
Yeah, English and liney text. Arabic. If there's French, then it's Tunisia.
Not enough information.
But there's no Hebrew.
Okay, so maybe not Israel.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like the Palestine side. But we could also just like...
I don't know what to do with these interesting walls. They're just cut into the streets, just cut into them.
Oh, it's Greece. What?
It took too long. We were so slow.
Oh, okay, we're back in it. That was really weird.
Is this the same place?
Yeah, yes, it's the same. It's the same place.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put a guess in that same area. Anything this way? I bore of this location. It was Jordan.
Oh, there you go. You even said that for a second.
I guessed it.
Why are we in a shoe store?
I love it. What the fuck? All right.
Oh, that's got some
like
Asian
Chinese,
writing.
right?
Yeah.
Yen.
So we're in Japan?
Japan. But it didn't really look Japanese, but I guess it could be Japanese. Yeah, sure. We are in Japan.
Well, you said yen. That's the only reason I said it, but maybe I'm wrong.
Do the Chinese also use yen?
I have no idea.
China is not very often on the map, but
I just think it's so weird that we're in a mall and with such detail.
This says opening soon. New. It's quite strange. It's a very, very nice mall. I mean, let me out. All right. I mean, so much like.
I don't know. Are we in Tokyo? I don't know. It's a lot of men's clothes.
Oh, now I can't go any further. Yeah, this is a weird location. We're saying Tokyo. Beijing.
So we were in China. How are we supposed to get that from a mall?
It is a mall.
All
right. Maybe... That was a dog shit round. That was good.
I mean, I'm not good at this anyway. I just guess places I've been. It looks kind of like this.
All right, let's really quickly just get a little duel in. I'm still a Christmas man.
Yeah. I mean, you could update it if you felt like it.
Nah. Christmas gang. All right. This is looking like it has houses. Okay, houses, yellow lines.
America. Fuck yeah.
Speed limit 25.
Definitely America.
Man.
Things are
what
green.
part of America do we think? Very green. I mean, dummy green, dude.
East Coast.
East Coast. Yeah, you always say that. The friggin'. Oh, is a license plate. Is white.
That doesn't mean anything.
T. Boston area, Massachusetts.
How did you get that from that T?
I think that's the logo of the
Boston Transit?
The Boston T.
Why is there no B on it though?
It's called the T. It was Minnesota. Holy fuck.
Well, that wasn't on the East Coast, but we were closer than they were.
No. It was not close at all. Man, I was so sure. Okay. Roadie.com, le spécialiste du sofa.
Oh.
I mean, this could be Belgium. It's got a real Belgiuminess.
Does it?
Economax.
Kind of bright for Belgium.
Oh, you right. When you write, you right.
Never seen that much sunshine when I was there.
But it is definitely French.
Could be.
Is it Montreal?
I don't know.
It could be Montreal.
Not enough information. Can we go to the actual street sign? Oh, what's that say? Ooh.
I kind of want to say Montreal area.
You just want to?
Yeah, unless I guess we should do the license.
We got yellow.
STL. Okay, don't know what that is. License plates are small, dude.
American size.
I'm saying Montreal.
Yep, it's not European looking.
Getting them real quick. Bah. And look at it. But if we had seen this frame, we would have said Belgium.
Would we?
Yeah.
Oh, because it's all cloudy?
Yeah. STL. Oh, Montreal, baby. He also got it, though. Wow. We're playing against a real player.
It's green.
It is green.
Are those American-sized license plates or European? That looks like it could be European plate. I'm not sure.
We got white lines in the middle.
Okay, we're in Europe.
But they are short plates.
Wait, are they?
I think so, yeah. School zone, 40
short plates.
School days. You don't think so?
I don't think so.
They look like short plates.
Thailand. No, I don't know. Let's see. I need more information.
I mean, it's so nice. Footscray Night Market.
Weird.
Tycho goes to Mars.
Still sounds like Belgium.
Oh, Melbourne. It's Melbourne.
Oh. How do we know that?
Because it says Melbourne on this.
How can you see that?
Because I have a way bigger screen than you do.
Oh. Oh, Franca said Laval, Quebec.
He got Australia too. I mean, this guy's on it.
He is on it.
Is it Jordan or is it Tunisia?
I don't know. I have no information.
Jordan or Tunisia? It's Jordan, I think. But it could also be Tunisia.
It could also be just Africa in general. So let's go Tunisia. Wait, they're both in Africa.
Nope, Tunisia is not in Africa.
No?
Nope. Africa starts at Egypt. This is Asia.
Well, where's Tunisia? You're saying it's above
Oh,
that.
sorry. Tunisia is. Tunisia. Jordan's not, though. Jordan's.
Oh, okay. Well, I said Tunisia. Hello.
Oh, he was so... It's Pakistan.
Oh.
Wow. Good guess by him.
Wait, did he get it right?
Well, he got the right country. He was not in the right city. Oh, my God. More of these fucking letters.
We got Americans. We got some big vehicles.
Alnada Stationary.
A lot of vehicles. A lot of everything. This is a city.
Yeah, it's very tall. And you know what I want to say? I still want to say Jordan.
Why is everything Jordan?
Because of the text. It's United Arab Emirates.
Okay, that makes way more sense. They've got cities.
Abu Dhabi?
Oh, probably Dubai.
It doesn't look nice enough to be Dubai.
Yeah.
Right? There's no.
There's a lot of
glass buildings. No, it could be Dubai, but I don't think it looks quite nice enough, right?
Yeah, we might not be in the nicest part.
Istanbul. It was Dubai. Oh, he got it like. Oh, he didn't guess. Oh. Unfortunately, it was a healing round.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think I would have just won on that one. Instant promotion.
America.
Specialized process. The UK.
Why? Because of LTD?
Because it says .co.uk.
Oh, where do you see that? Oh, you can see it better than I can, I guess.
Yeah, it's under this phone number.
Oh, but also look at that phone number format. Interesting. 0117.
Uh-oh. Whoa. Wow, we both guessed very close to each other.
Double damage. Uh-oh.
I mean, this has been a good round. Unfortunately, the other guy is good.
He is good.
Truck trailer. Uh-oh. Telephone. Weird telephone number. Jules e-bikes. What the fuck is this?
The Netherlands? Not the Netherlands. Oh,
Could it be the Netherlands? It's got a Netherlandsiness. Tissandaria. Uh-oh.
Oh, wait. Those sound more like Spanish-y words.
Yeah, they do. But there's bikes. Oh, boy.
But I think we're in Europe, though.
It was the Netherlands. Oh, it's Belgium.
What? There wasn't enough information.
I
can't believe it's Belgium, and I didn't yell Belgium when I like to yell Belgium all the time.
He must have found a good clue.
I think we're in Europe. Let's see.
Ooh
is right.
50. You have to have chains on your tires, so it can get cold.
Well, yeah, we're sort of up in the mountains.
Yeah, I guess they can often get cold, those mountains. Kind of nice. Do we think Italy?
Oh, wait, look at that roof line, though.
Portugal. It is interesting. It's in the European Union. So do with that what you will. Coal.
Was that French? I don't know. What's coal?
It could be anything.
Yeah.
It was made. Banca di Credito Cooperative Picenia.
So sounds like we're in Spain or Italy.
Spain or Italy.
Can we go maybe Siena, like the Siena area of Spain or of Italy?
Where's Siena?
Well, let's see. Where's Italy? Are we?
Oh, of Italy.
Okay, so like near Florence, up that way. Oh, maybe I have been to northern.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, we did. It was Italy. God.
You were closer.
We were closer, but this guy is. I don't think we're going to win. Because I keep feeling like we're getting lucky. And yellow license plates, but they're long plates. So it could be
Germany,
Luxembourg, it could be UK, it could be Germany, it could be the Netherlands.
How to get out of this damn parking lot?
Give me a fucking break. Ay. Let ops Louis.
Oh.
Switzerland?
Sure.
Or
I don't know. I don't know these languages.
Netherlands.
Louis.
I don't know. I could be very wrong on this one.
Bicycle sign. Can we keep looking or no?
Well, we can't. We just can't guess again. It was the Netherlands.
Oh.
Oh, so close to winning. Oh my God.
Wait, you didn't win?
No.
How? I thought
100 points left.
I felt like we crushed that.
Oh no, and it's a bad round. Oh no. I mean, this is straight luck. What white lines? I can't even tell if what direction we're driving. Oh. Okay, driving on the right, white lines. So almost no information.
Yeah, there's not even it didn't matter which direction we went in, it didn't look like. There's no city anywhere or town or anything.
It's flat. Are we in Ukraine? It's got a Ukraininess.
I have no idea. I don't know.
I'm just getting in the quick guess. I'm saying Ukraine. I feel like I've seen war footage that looks like it's in this area. Oh boy. It's ugly. I should have known it was Serbia.
No, neither one of you got it right.
We won.
Well, there you go. We went out on a win.
Yeah, baby. That was fun.
Yeah. I think it's time. You probably got to go for a walk. Stretch your legs.
Fine.
Feel good.
I know the dog doesn't want to go on a walk, but I also don't want to leave it in here without going outside.
He might want to go for a walk he's got the funkies too. He might need to shake it off.
Might need to shake it off. All right. Fair enough. All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us and talking about this. I know that you could hardly resist clicking on the link. You're like, oh my God, tax policy. But even still, we're glad that you were here.
Yes. Thanks for mixing it up with us, man. Sometimes we like to talk about different things.
And on our new time, which is Tuesdays.
Yes.
Tuesday evenings. So that's the deal, baby. Yeah, we love you. And
we do.
Want to hug you and give you a noogie.
Yes. Thank you for keeping us company. Shall we sing it out?
Wait,
you got
another song.
Yeah. Taxes.
Okay, you press numbers.
Okay. Pressed. Shabadoo, shabadoo. Oh, yeah.
Taxes. Taxes.
They're coming for us all. Here comes the tax man.
Taxes up. Taxes down. That's what we are doing with our policies. We are going to change all of the taxes and make it less complicated, but also more complicated. We're trying to make taxes.